shortest recaps we had. They were up by 22 points with about 8 minutes to go. And they lost by 11. One of the biggest collapses you'll ever see in the postseason. One of the biggest comebacks you'll ever see in the postseason. My goodness, this might be one of the shortest recaps we have because for 3.5 quarters of it, I'm just writing notes about how great the Cleveland Cavaliers look. You would have never guessed that just 2 days ago they just played a Game 7 in Detroit, hopped on a red eye, ended up in New York City to play against the well, not the hottest team in the league. Oh my God, you saw the Spurs team yesterday. To play against one of the hottest teams left. I was so ready to give all the big ups to Donovan Mitchell because I just knew he was having a good time. First round, he got Scotty Barnes and Colin Murray-Boyles. I can't do nothing. Second round, he gets Asar Thompson. I can't do nothing. It
appears we have no choice.
It's like,
please handle whatever the guy needs first.
Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns in a pick and roll, and he was
As Alpha said, we cannot rely on the guide alone.
I was so ready.
HQ will do their best to
descend.
Amaro having another time where he looked like a star role player in his role. I really enjoyed what I was seeing from Evan Mobley defensively. They generated every shot they wanted to in the first 3.5 quarters. I thought that in this time period, Karl-Anthony Towns looked awful defensively. I think that Jalen Brunson, of course, was getting hunted, but not holding his own. And then the shift happened. And then Jalen Brunson turned into Superman. Whoever you want to get. I dead ass, like I'm watching this game in my office like I normally do. When Jalen Brunson had already scored 8 straight points and then he hit the step back 3 over Harden, I belly laughed. Straight up belly laughed. My wife asked me, what's so funny? Like I was watching TikToks or watching Dave Chappelle or classic Martin Lawrence. But no, I was laughing at the fact that this man is 6'1" and he is tearing up a team when he was down by 22 points with 7 minutes and 52 seconds left. That's one of the best heaters you're going to see, all things considered. Fourth quarter, overtime. I was genuinely surprised that 22-point lead ended up you know the word I'm looking for. Before Kenny Atkinson started to call timeouts, before Kenny Atkinson started to make some adjustments, before Kenny Atkinson tried to do this, it was just straight up Jalen Brunson on an island with James Harden, and we talked about it all postseason long. Hell, I feel like I've talked about it for the last 2 years of James Harden. He does not stand in front of anybody. His form of defense is letting you get past him and him reaching around trying to get that swipe steal or that back steal. And he actually, I was so pissed off at him early in this game, but they were up by so much that I ain't write it in my notes, but now it just reminded me. Now that they lost, I'm going to bring it up. At times, like James Harden is almost 40 years old. The man he's old. He ain't, and it's never like he was a super great defender. But at the end of the day, he's a super old NBA player. So him not being able to stay in front of Jalen Brunson, fine. Him not being able to stay in front of Cade Cunningham, fine. But there was a play where Karl-Anthony Towns had the ball on the left wing, and Karl-Anthony Towns walked his way right past James Harden. Not bullied him, not using any contact, just straight up walked past him. And I'm just like, oh my goodness. But I think James Harden actually did use that wraparound steal thing, and he did poke it loose, but it still landed in the hands of someone else, and the Knicks scored. But for him to be on an island like that, listen, my level of basketball playing was super low. Sophomore year, and I barely played sophomore year. Barely played sophomore year. The level of embarrassment I would have if I was on an island and a dude was cooking me time and time again. I'm not the type to ask for a sub out, but I'm the type to act like my ankle hurt. I'm that type. That didn't happen for James. I was really disappointed as I was going through and watching the greatness that is Jalen Brunson. The entire time, I'm also simultaneously disappointed in Kenny Atkinson for not doing the goddamn thing throughout the entirety of this run. I think he used one of his 2 timeouts during this one. Or maybe that's not true. He may have had 2 timeouts leading into that last possession where Sam Merrill missed the toilet bowl shot. And then I bet he's really pissed. I bet Cavs fans are really pissed, not just because they lost this game, not just because they blew that lead, but because in overtime when he finally subbed back in Max Strus, guess what Max Strus didn't do? He didn't concede the switch on the screen. Bro, I've talked about it for years. One of my least favorite things is how easily teams and players concede the switch when you know that's what they're going for. Jalen Brunson just scored. Let me open up my app real quick. Fourth quarter, he scored 15. Overtime, he only scored 2. I don't know why. Maybe it all synced together. Scored between overtime and fourth quarter. He has scored 17 points, all by getting his favorite matchup. We just gonna give it to him every single time and hope that he missed. He didn't miss. He just straight up didn't miss. And then Max Strus, who had been a competitive defensive player all last series and the series before that, it was on the bench, and he finally gets in the last 2 minutes. First of all, I think he had the 3 to make it like a 6-point game, and then he did not concede the switch and got the ball out of Jalen Brunson's hands. Imagine if he was playing instead of Jared Allen, who there was no advantage that was. This is what you have to compete. And I'm not trying to tell Kenny Axe how to coach. I mean, my goodness, he's an amazing coach, as we know. But this is what the playoffs are about. The playoffs are about finding the advantages and maximizing your advantages. And with Jared Allen and Evan Mobley on the court down the stretch, because at times in this game, that duo was playing really amazing stuff. But at times down the stretch, they weren't creating any extra possessions by going extra big. They weren't getting stops by being extra big. So why don't we go the other direction? Why not get our most competitive defensive player out there to guard their superstar? It took way too long to get Jared Allen out of this. Way too long to yank him out of this game. And they eventually did, and it was just too late. A lot of the conversation is going to be Jalen Brunson, and for good reason. The guy was ridiculous. Again, 17 points between the fourth quarter and overtime. Just steady guy, and just some of the shot taking, even the times he's trying to draw contact and trying to draw fouls, and they're not calling it. He still has the mental, geometry to hit the backboard the exact way that needs to be done, while he's trying to also draw contact high up the glass, low up the glass, off of over here, off over here. He truly is a pleasure to watch, man. Truly is. So he is going to be the guy that gets talked about the most today, and for the reason. But I also want to give credit to so many other people. Throughout this run, it's not just about putting the ball in the basket, it's about preventing the other team from doing that too, right? OG Anunoby was phenomenal defensively. I mean, we know that he's probably going to go defensive team whenever the hell they announce it. When are they announcing all of the offense? I have no idea. He's probably going to make it. And this is his first game in 2 weeks. They mentioned on the broadcast. And offensively, there were times where you looked at him like, he ain't got the same bounce. I think one time he tried to catch a post and didn't really do it. But defensively, he was all in the bag of chips. And also, Landry goddamn Shamet. Landry Shamet was fighting through. He was denying ball. He was amazing. 17 minutes plus 25 in those 17 minutes. He had 2 big old threes, another one of them toilet ball threes that falls through, and one that he didn't have to take. Like, they could have just wasted a little bit more time, but he felt the confidence in his own shot. He took the 3 and bang, it was down. So, of course, defense is a team thing, but those 2 guys stood out to me in that fourth quarter about their aggression level and how they were preventing the other star players from doing the things they had done for the first 3 quarters of this one. So, shout out to those dudes. This was not a call. You said, let me check the group chat, because the group chat was going, boy. The group chat was going. I said something. Towns is playing so goddamn goofy right now. I can't take it. That was my first text to them at 9:19 watching this game. And I can't off the top of my mind remember exactly what he did. But if I had to guess, it was him hard driving to the rim, not getting the call, falling onto the camera people and kicking his legs up and not getting back on defense. One of them led to a Donovan Mitchell 3 on the wing that just like killed a lot of the momentum that the Knicks were having. And then when the Knicks were in their run, he grabbed Jared Allen's arm on an offensive foul when they were in the midst of like an 11-1 run. And I'm just like, bro, some of the fouls, the turnovers, all of it. Like, this was not the Carlton Towns we just watched last series or the series before that. And I'm hoping this is just rust because they hadn't played it with 9 days or whatever. Because that was just not good. Now, if you want to give him any credit, down the stretch, like I mentioned, OG Anunoby and Landry Shamet's defense, Carlton Towns still held the back end of this one, as everybody just kind of watched James Harden dribble, including the superstar on their team, Donovan Mitchell, who I just don't know what happens here. I thought he was playing such a great game. Even, I think, through the first 3 quarters, he had 6 steals. He ends with 6 steals, his career high in any game he's played at the professional level. But I don't know what will be happening in these games for Don. I don't know if he just gets gassed or whatever. But I just want him to have the ball down the stretch in close games over James Harden. I mean, you can play it by ear, fill out the game. But James Harden was just bad tonight. And Donovan Mitchell was not. So I just want the ball in his hands a little bit. I don't know. Maybe that's just me being selfish and wanting to see the best player have the ball in the best moments. I like the aggression from Evan Mobley. Maybe a little bit too many threes in this one. He was really trying, though. He was really trying. He was cleaning the glass and everything. Mike Breen had a pre-bang load up on that Sam Merrill shot. Now, we're saying all of this about the Knicks and their amazing comeback and all, but it was one shot that went like this, went down, and then came out. Mike Breen on the call says, Merrill for three, but rims out. He was about to, man, he might have called the biggest bang of the night because he had already called one earlier. And it rolled out. And that's what basketball is. That's this league, man. You go from being on cloud nine because we're going into the top seed and we're winning through 3.5 quarters to, oh my God, we're about to blow this game, to, oh my God, our best shooter, one of our best shooters has a wide open look and it might go in too. Oh my goodness, in overtime. How much they score in overtime? Let me quickly look at this. In overtime, they scored 3 points to the 14 for the New York Knicks. So, Mikal Bridges. I'm sorry, Mikal. Mikal Bridges in the fourth quarter, he ended up having 6 points in this one, and 2 of those threes, one was in the corner, one was above the break, huge threes. I think they were within like a possession of each other. I love the aggression we're getting from him again. And you all know he's going through that slump, that mental slump at the end of the regular season and leading into the postseason where, like, I think one of the games he literally scored 0 points and everybody was conversating about 5 first-round picks. And this one, I thought he was pretty damn good. The 2 threes that he hit, super impactful. The thing I just love about what Mikal is doing right now is some of the times he's literally putting his head down to get into the basket. He still does have that fear of getting to the foul line for whatever reason. One of the times he got to the basket and did this double clutch that he didn't need to do because there was a defender there that might have contested it. I don't know if he has just the fear of contact or the fear of the free throw line, whatever, but he never wants to go there. But it hadn't mattered in this game alone.
Albion has entered uncharted territory.
I will tell Enzo to prepare
they
to
went to
resume the
Hackamick in
operation.
parts of this game.
Understood.
That's always going to be something you have to deal with.
Wrap up any preparations
he was
for
2 of 8 from the
reinforcements
free throw
quickly,
line, but he did
and
give some
head to
good
the
energy
Misty
on the
Woods
glass as
outpost in
always.
Echo Swamp. Enzo is awaiting
Kenny
your
Jackson was
arrival.
trying stuff. We did get to see Keon Ellis play in this one. A couple turnovers, one in the corner where it just slid off his hands when it was like 1 second on the shot clock. Surprised we didn't see Thomas Bryant because, my goodness, does Kenny Atkinson love to play Thomas Bryant in game 1 to game 2s of series. And then he eventually finds out by game 3, Thomas Bryant should probably not be playing in the series. But we got 0 minutes of that today. Step in the right direction. 0 minutes of Jalen Tyson as well. I just realized that. Okay, New York Knicks, ridiculous. Jalen Brunson. I've always had an affinity for small guards as someone that that is small and did play the guard position once upon a time. I'm trying to think of my personal Mount Rushmore. No disrespect to Zeke, who is an all-time small guard, but I didn't get to see Zeke. My Mount Rushmore small guards has to be Chris Paul, of course, Allen Iverson, of course, Jalen Brunson, of course. And then who's that last guy? I'm going to leave that one up to y'all. Y'all let me know who should be on that Mount Rushmore of small guards. Let's say over the last 26 years. Make it easy so people ain't, oh, you should have had Tiny Archibald. I wasn't around for Tiny Archibald. Damn it. But it probably should be Tiny Archibald because they literally gave him the nickname Tiny. And now that I say that, Tiny Archibald. How tiny was Tiny Archibald? 6'1". That's pretty decent. 6'1", 150? Oh no, he deserved Tiny Archibald. He was 150 pounds playing in this. Oh my goodness. He was 150 pounds. He made 3 All-NBA first teams as a 150-pound NBA player. And he shot 11 free throws a game one year. He was getting his ass beat. I need to go watch some Tiny Archibald film. Did they got it from 1973? I don't know. Shout out to Jalen Brunson, dog. A straight up killer. All you can do is laugh, bro. All you can do is laugh. Bro, is that the greatest basketball game I've ever watched? Is that one of the greatest individual performances I've ever watched? Yes, and yes. Legit best in the world type of game from Victor Wembanyama. Best in the world type of game. It's been in flux. It was Jokic for, I don't know, the last 4 to 5 years or so. People say that Jokic got his chain snatched by Mr. 2-time MVP, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Shai may have held that chain for a day, maybe 2. That man, Wemby, just went out and had 41, 23 rebounds, including 9 offensive, 3 blocks, and a steal. A double overtime game where he plays nearly 50 minutes. Do you remember just a couple games ago in the postseason? There's a lot of conversations about Wemby not playing games that were like, I think he had a game where he played 40 minutes. It's like, this is the most minutes he ever played. And oh my God, he looked so gassed. He looked like the only fresh legs out there on the entire court. Dub, Caruso can't even start the OTs because Dub is coming off the injury, but Caruso's giving us every possession. He's one of those type of guys that can't play 40 minutes. Our MVP, Shai looked gassed. Chet looks gassed. Everybody looks gassed except for Victor Wembanyama. This is one of them games where obviously Wemby have arrived a long time ago, right? At the bare minimum, you say that Wemby is the third best player in the world. You could argue for one, you can argue for two, but at the bare minimum, he's the third best player in the world. So he's arrived he's been there for a long time. But playoffs, game one of the Western Conference Finals, down a starter, and not just a starter like, the second highest paid player on the entire team. And he went into OKC, went against the defending champion who ain't lost a game all postseason long, and just did this. Oh my God. I try not to be so reactionary with some of these things, but how can you not look at this man play and say, my goodness, he might be the GOAT? How can you close the door on that? Jordan got his 6 for 6. LeBron got the all-time leading scorer in the championships and all that. So Wemby got a long way to go. Don't get me wrong. But for a 22-year-old to have this game on this stage with these stakes is crazy. 13 free throw attempts made, 12 of them. Just straight up obliterated the second DPOY candidate this season. This was a nasty Chet Holmgren game. As you know, you watch this game. Chet Holmgren very rarely was matched up against him. He had the big block to send it to overtime, which is huge. But you just waited. And I think Chet had been really good on the offense side of the ball for the majority of their 8-0 run to get to this point. But it's something about that matchup against the alien where that man Chet just does not know how to be an impactful offensive player. Go back to the regular season. Look at the 4 or 5 games he played. 10 points, 8 points. It's something about that matchup where you see him and Wemby's the boogeyman to him. He just don't know what to do. So he sits on the perimeter and waits for the ball to get swung his way, and maybe he'll shoot it or maybe he'll step back and pass it. It was bad. And one of the more impactful plays is when I think it was Steph Castle throws it in, duck into Wembanyama, who's being guarded by Alex Caruso. Chet's late on his rotation, and instead of just conceding the 2 points, it turns into 3 because Chet Holmgren comes over late and gets posterized. And that is a point where it goes from a 2-point game to a 5-point game, just on that one possession. So that was huge in this one. I'm watching this game, and I took notes for the first, 40 minutes of the game. And then it got too good for me to sit here and type. I won't lie to you. It got too good for me to sit here and type. So let's see what I ended up writing down, at least some of this other ones. Caruso. It's gonna sting. It's gonna sting, especially if they lose the series, to have a 31-point Alex Caruso game that you could not capitalize on. But he was the only one with multiple three-pointers outside of Chet, who was 2 of 4, and Kaysen, who was 2 of 5. 8 3-pointers for Caruso, great hustle plays, really good defense, all things considered. I think it is interesting that Mark Daigneault went very early on to the Wembanyama being guarded by the smalls, whether it be Dub or Caruso. That was something they kept in the back pocket, if you remember last year when they went against a guy like Nikola Jokic. But they were hoping that getting underneath Wembanyama would be the thing. And I thought that early in this game, first quarter, so both teams were doing a really good job on the opposing stars. It wasn't until Wemby decided, okay, I'm going to get this ball at the elbow, I'm going to post up Caruso and let the game revolve around me, and I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And if we get back to the original conversation about best in the world title, I think one of the reasons that title had been held by big forwards and centers for the last decade or so, no disrespect to Steph Curry, I'm sure he got a year or two in that regard, but I'm saying like between it being Jokic, then Giannis and Bron, and do you want to give 1 year of Embiid? It's up to you. But the reason why they're so valuable to have that level of size is because when Wemby was struggling to shoot from the field, just like the other best player in the league, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Shai doesn't have the luxury to just say, give me the ball in the post and let me go to work. right? So that's one of the reasons why a guy like Wembanyama can be so damn good. Let me see. There we go. So damn good on a possession-by-possession basis, because if you take away this, my comment is that I'm big as shit, and my teammates can throw me up the ball. And there's 3 plays off the top of my mind in this game where his teammates threw the ball at the rim and he just got it. And some of them times with one motion got it and dunked the ball really. That's the Wembanyama thing.
Quality of this Kuiper's
double overtime. I don't know how many of the last. I think he scored 8 of the last 11 points for the team. Final score, because I started this recap before the final buzzer, because it was over. Big time shot. Boom.
I have no idea what he's talking about, but I know this operation needs to resume quickly.
41 and 24.
The area where the guy picked up Jeremy's voice is a way off. Got a long road ahead of us.
They went with an ultra short rotation. They tried to go with the Luke Kornet minutes, and I don't think it's coincidence that you did see some really good runs from OKC when Luke Kornet was on the floor. I got it in my notes here. As soon as Luke Kornet took to the game, J-Dub got a layup and then a 7-foot floater immediately. As soon as he's gonna be out onto the bench, and then eventually, coach was like, "Man, we can't really play Luke Kornet anymore." And luckily, again, Wembanyama just had the lungs to be able to do that for the entirety of the second half, I think, is what it feels like. And I think we got to talk about
the Ironheart pulses have stopped, which means he must have put it back inside the
You've been watching this show, any of my
by the
podcasts, you know, I've been as high on Dylan Harper as anybody.
We cannot allow
But
Jeremy
it's
to
still
take the Ironheart
if you had
again.
never watched this thing, you don't know the history of these players within this game.
Looks like we
and
have
you
no other
watched
choice
it,
but
there
to
was
go to the
nothing
zone
that
where we
Dylan
picked
Harper
up
did
his
in this game
voice
though that made
and
you feel like
investigate.
that guy is playing his first year in this association. Last year he was in college. The year before that he was in high school. And in this performance, I mean, his 3-point shot wasn't falling, but everything else was ridiculous. Defense, hustle, passing, no turnover. Well, I guess, I'm sorry, 1 turnover for a rookie league guard in one of his first starts of his playoff career. Do y'all recognize? Is he just 20? Is he hit 21 years old yet? Or is he just do the performance that we just saw as a 20-year-old? Really quick. He is 20 years. He's a young 20-year-old. He just turned 20. He just turned 20 in March, y'all. He just did that in the playoffs. Bro, what is happening with... Yo,
A powerful enemy has appeared.
again, this is going to be
should focus
hopefully
on the
a very
battle
long
for now.
series. This game was phenomenal. I need 7 of them minimum. Adam Silver got to figure out a way to get an 8th and a 9th game in there if we need, but I need 7 of them minimum. But I said on my podcast, if for whatever reason one of these teams win in 5 or one of these teams win in 4, the conversation revolve around the winning team is going to be ridiculous. And I ain't trying to disrespect our Eastern Conference matchup, which will start tomorrow, but y'all got some big-ass shoes to fill.
Deliver the info about Jeremy to HQ.
The game that we just watched is the greatest
If they
game
have
ever.
any
It's
new
one of the
intel,
greatest games
they'll
ever.
send it to us.
And I'm also watching this game and thinking to myself, I don't think the Knicks or the Cavs can compete in this high level, bro.
Jeremy said
Time will
the
tell,
focus
right?
in
One of
this
them teams
area
will
have been
advance to the NBA
enhanced
Finals.
with
But the game I
high-quality
just watched, I don't know if the Knicks end up in that double overtime. I don't know if the Cavs have enough juice to get into the double overtime game. So these two teams are playing ridiculous level of basketball.
I really hope this has
Stephon
nothing to
Castle
do
had
with
11
that old
turnovers.
Colossus corpse.
And I'm watching it, and obviously I'm
Go collect
recognizing that
Vulgus
he's turning the
samples
ball over
and
quite
place
a
them
bit.
in the supply
I wouldn't
box.
box score watching until Mike hit the group chat that said, hey, no way he got 11. I'm like, who got 11? Caruso got 11. Like, what? 11. I look at the box going, God! Bro, he was 1 away from tying James Harden for most turnovers in the playoff game. 1 away from James Harden. And James Harden got the ball every single possession on his team back when he was with the Houston Rockets. But no, luckily enough, it was all cool. He got 2 big assists down the stretch, down the Wembanyama, and that's all that really matters. That's all that really matters. They walk out of here as a winner. OKC got a lot. I mean, again, it's a double overtime game. They lost by 2 possessions, right? So the sky is not falling for Oklahoma City. But I do think it's interesting that our MVP just did not have the game that they needed him to have. For the game to be within grasp with Caruso shooting and Chet being like this, they just needed some extra shea. And he had a couple big possessions in regulation. You know, the great play drawn up by Mark Daigneault that led to Shea getting that layup basically to send it to overtime was huge. He had one more layup that was very similar to that. But for the most part, our MVP did not look like an MVP today. And they're going to need him to play MVP level basketball. I think the zone that the Spurs threw at him really made him think a little bit more. There was a turnover down the stretch in the second overtime that he threw like a lackadaisically. And I'm like, bro, that's not a pass you can make right now. You just can't make that pass. These hands are too active on that opposing team. The stakes are too high to throw a one-handed bounce pass to somebody I don't even know. So he's straight up got to be better. And I do believe that a lot of the stuff that I watched today from Mitch Johnson and company and that coaching staff was very similar to what J.J. Redick schemed up last series. It worked very well against Shea. I think he averaged 24 points per game, and that 24 was kind of inflated because I think he was averaging 20 leading into that last game, which he had like a really great performance. So really he had been, 10 points beneath his season average in that last series, and he finishes technically with 24 and 12 assists, which is cool, with some 5 steals. Of course, the aggression was there, but he just couldn't get really good looks. Just straight up couldn't get good looks. And I haven't looked at, actually, I could use my phone right here. I know this is bad taping. I haven't looked at his overall shot chart from game 1, but I could quickly look this up, and because I want to see if my eye test. So yeah, okay. So in the paint, he was 1 of 5. He was 1 of 5 in the paint tonight.
Great
and
job.
that one is probably that
I'll
layup
send
I'm
the
referring
focus
to that
DNA
was
to be
overtime.
analyzed in
Yeah,
Albion.
he was 3 of 4 in the restricted area, 1 of 7 in
Join
his
me in
bread
the
and butter
outpost for a
mid-range, and he
moment.
was 1 of
There's
6
a lot
in
to
above the break
discuss
threes,
concerning
1
the
of 1
Vulgus
corner
and
three.
Kuiper.
So just basically
I
all
know the
around
pursuit
court,
is
a really
urgent.
tough day
There's just
from
a
our
few
guy Shea.
things I'd like to
4 of
highlight.
17 on jump shots. Only, again, 4 layups for Shea is a really low number. Obviously, he ends up with 9 free throws, so you count a couple of those as layups, if you will, because he did draw the contact in order to get to the free
Regarding
throw
Jeremy's
line.
defection,
But again, it goes back to like, it's tough as hell.
Is anybody
These are
there?
2 of the
This
best
is
defensive
Essimo.
teams
We
in the
can't move.
league.
We're
and you see
surrounded
that,
by enemy
especially
forces.
if Wembanyama's back there.
What's your location?
If you watch my
I'm at
podcast
the
tape that
abandoned
came out
zone.
earlier
I
today
was
when I was
sent here on a
previewing the
mission to
series,
destroy the
I was
Vulgus
talking about
facility.
how the
But at
Spurs
this rate,
have that
I'll be
luxury
the one being
of
destroyed.
when they can throw to at a
Like
superstar
hell
player
you
like
will.
they did
Sending
against
reinforcements right now.
Anthony Edwards. The opposing team is playing 4-on-3 right now. It's 4 OKC players versus 3 Spurs players who are playing defense, but it's not, because one of those 3 people is Victor Wembanyama, and he accounts for like 4 people defensively. So when they threw 2 off Shea and he got off the ball, there wasn't many openings for anybody else, because you would hope that 3-on-4 or that 4-on-3 opportunity can get you to get some dribble penetration to get to the basket. But the dude at the basket can swat whatever. There's 100 plays in this game where a guy was dribbling towards the basket. He said, "Nah, let me kick this back out." That's the Wembanyama effect. So we get back to the original, oh my God, this guy could be the GOAT, and it's like, he genuinely is the greatest defensive player I've ever seen already. Over Dre, over Rudy, over anybody in my lifetime that I actually got. I didn't get to see Scotty. I didn't get to see Dennis Rodman in their peaks. But the people that I got to watch, Ben Wallace, the great defensive players, Wembanyama's number 1, and he's like looking down pretty heavily on those other great defensive players. This is...
the analysis has detected void
It's a one
energy
game
on the
of hopefully
surface of the
7.
Kuiper.
But again, the
This
conversations
is
that can
definitely
happen if they
different from
win this
regular
series.
Kuiper.
Nobody other than, I mean, we got to go back. I'm going to say modern NBA. I don't want to disrespect Magic and so on. But nobody in modern NBA has been able to lead their team to a finals trophy at this young of an age. And again, he is, 7 wins away from making that a reality. He's still got to get through this team or whatever team comes out east. But I don't know, man. The rest of the league might be in trouble. Maybe it's good that my favorite team is rebuilding, damn it. We'll be back in 8 years. That's about the time. No, in 8 years, Wembanyama still won't even be 30.
I appear to be unable to transfer my consciousness into it. This narrows it down to 2 possibilities. Either
Devin
this
still
is
had a corner
Jeremy's
3 that was so
or
important
the
as
RK
time
of
expired in
Essimo,
regulation. It might have
who
been like
is
a minute
unconscious.
left. Or maybe not even a minute,
We can't
40-some
miss this
seconds left.
opportunity.
And I swear that was such a key point in this game. Keldon Johnson came
Descendant,
out
this
and
is number
tried to become a shooter
17.
because they just straight up
Essimo
bombarded
may
him. He
be
had
being
3
held
threes,
inside
which
this
is hugely
facility.
important. And then when you
going
play a
in.
ton down the stretch,
I
when you
won't
can
come
make
on.
the opposing team
Hold the
pay,
attention
like
of
Alex
viewers'
Caruso
forces
did,
for
as a
me.
jump shooter, when they're not guarding you, it goes a long way.
There's movement
We did
in the
not get a
pattern
good
of the
AJ
enemy
Mitchell game.
forces.
I was hoping to see a little
They may
bit
be
more of him,
waiting
but
for
I understand why they
reinforcements.
didn't play him a ton, because his shot wasn't really falling, and I think he couldn't get to the basket either. We only got to see 12 minutes Isaiah Hardenstein. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that
Survey
they
of
just
the
don't
facility is
respect, when I'm
almost
talking about the
complete.
Spurs, the
Hold
Spurs
on,
just
just a
don't
little
respect
longer.
the shooters on Oklahoma City. So in order to open the game up more for Shea, you can't really run double big versus versus Wemby, and they tried that in the regular season as well, and they eventually did exactly what Mark Daigneault did in this one, where Isaiah Hartenstein can only play spot minutes because he just can't hang if it's going to be him plus a Chet Holmgren. And then since they're not going with Isaiah Hartenstein, they're going with like 4 smalls and a wing. You do get the opportunity for Victor Wembanyama to walk out there with 9 offensive rebounds, 15 as a team. There's a couple down the stretch, and Wemby got like 3 in 1 possession. So it's like that's just like the game that you have to play and hope that the potential shooting that you can have can offset some of that. I knew, and we all knew, that this was going to be a lot of experimentation from both of these head coaches. The Thunder have a blessing and a curse of having hella really good ball players. So the question becomes, who can play and who can't? Aaron Wiggins starts the second quarter. He takes 3 threes, misses them all, doesn't see the rest of the court. Isaiah Joe plays 16 seconds because they're looking for an opportunity to get him open. Jay Will plays some minutes in the fourth quarter, but only equates to 10. Jeremy McCain hit a couple shots. He was over 18 minutes. But for the most part, Mark Daigneault's trying to figure out the combinations that can twist the keys of the Spurs defense. And he struggled to find those. It was a pretty short-ish rotation for the Spurs. You did see with Luke Kornet and Harrison Barnes checking together at the first quarter. What was at the beginning of the second? Which regardless,
It's highly likely that a
HB
bonus
to touch the
commander
floor for the rest of that game.
If you see one,
you know what I'm saying?
eliminate
we
them
can't do
immediately.
that. And it was cool to see the young guy, Carter Bryant, get into
Enemy
it. He
target
played with so much
identified.
aggression on the
But it
defensive
doesn't
side. I
seem to
thought
be
he
a
did a really
commander
good job on Shea, along with
Take
all
them out
of the other
anyway.
guys. They were completely prepared for this.
Enemy
And they mentioned
target
in the
identified.
broadcast 100 different
It
times
doesn't seem to be a commander.
that the Oklahoma City Thunder have
Take them
played
out anyway.
8 games in a month. So it's a good old-fashioned rest versus rust. As I just feel like 4
Inner
or 5
facility
days
survey
ago, the
complete.
Spurs played their game
No signs
6.
of SMO or
So,
any conflict. I'll need to search a different zone.
They got rest. Oh, I'm sorry, they got rust. And
Follow SMO's traces.
Okay,
we
see,
should be able to
rest.
find Jeremy as well.
one thing I'm
It's not
looking
that
forward
far.
to for game number 2.
The
Let me
arcade is
quickly
fading.
see if I can
We must
confirm
move
what I'm thinking in my
quickly.
head. I remember all of the time Shea had a really bad postseason game last season. The very next game, he looked like the best player in the world again. So let me see if my mind. Yeah. So okay, I'm looking at it right now. Game 1 versus
fog
Memphis,
makes it
only 15
difficult to
points.
carry
Second
out
game,
aerial
he ends up with
reconnaissance.
27.
But I will
Another
keep
bad game.
trying.
Overtime loss versus
Please be
Denver.
careful.
He had 18 points. Next game, he had 25, then 31. You have the Minnesota loss where he had 14 points. The next game, he had 40. In the finals, he was pretty consistent in the finals. But his worst game was that 21-point game in game 6 and in game 7. God damn, I don't remember Shea shooting 29% from the field in game 7. But he had backed up most of his bad playoff performances with the great one. So I think they're going to go to the drawing board. They're going to watch some film, and both teams be ready for game 2. Can't wait to see if the Knicks and Cavs watch tonight, and can they replicate some of that. Wembanyama, fucking dog, as we all knew, but to see it at this stage is a
Detected
whole other
irregular
level. Shout out to him.
vibrations
Shout out to
nearby.
the Spurs.
The Vulgus are swarming in that direction.
Yo, what up?
Yo, Tyler, what is good, bro? What is good, man?
Sup?
Yo, Tyler, first off, very nice to meet you, bro. You are basically kind of like you look like my identical twin, but like an older version of me.
Our comm status suggests that the enemy has a wavelength jammer.
Super like
If we
they're
destroy it,
five
we'll
of
be
your
able to
videos.
find
Like,
SMO.
hold on. Who is this person? Yeah, I gotta go to the page.
I still can't locate SMO. There must be something else jamming the signal. Keep your eyes peeled. Watch
Now,
out.
yesterday,
Above
you all know
that's a Vulgus command relay.
that the Spurs,
It's a weapon that
well,
tracks
technically you
arcade
can't say
and can
put
be
BTA,
used to
but they
attack
came
it.
out on top in double
Hey, be
OT.
careful.
I
Jeremy
think
was
this
able to
is
get
gonna
the
be a
drop on me
generational
because I was too
series,
focused on other
in my
things.
opinion. So
Once the units
what do
finish
y'all
charging,
predict?
they'll become stronger.
I said this
I know
series
it's
is gonna
tough,
go to
but
7
we need to
games
destroy
after
it
last
before that
night
happens.
and seeing SGA struggle.
Understood.
I want to say 6,
knock out the
but I'm
weapons.
gonna stay with 7. I got the Spurs winning this shit. Let's
There
see
has to be a
everything you need to
leader
know about
among the
Spurs
enemy
Thunder,
defense
and also
forces.
accelerate
To
to it.
eliminate them to stop the defense units from charging.
Spurs versus Thunder. Top to bottom, the 2 best teams in basketball.
Another
not
enemy
just this
squad is
season, but for
inbound.
the foreseeable
As
future.
got
Esco
an ending
mentioned,
in
if they
6?
finish
The
charging,
storylines are
we're all
endless.
done
The
for.
rivalry is brewing. What we're about to witness is the highest level of basketball this league has to offer. But who actually has the edge? How
Man, now thinking about it, the Western Conference Finals low-key might be more entertaining than the actual finals itself. Because whether
Enemy keep
OKC or the
replenishing
Spurs
their
win,
forces. We have to stop them from
and
charging.
then I believe who the
Target
Knicks is
the leader.
playing. The Knicks play tonight, right? They play the Cavs. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, that's not gonna be exciting compared to this shit. Whether the Knicks or the Cavs win.
Thanks. Finally
So,
saved.
bro, I
I'm
want
no
to
use
enjoy
to you
every
in
single
this
game of this
I'll
damn
join you
season,
later
bro.
on.
Because I got the finals being a fucking snooze fest.
Essimo, you're
Gain
safe.
the upper hand, and who's punching
Thanks
their
to
ticket
you.
to the NBA Finals?
Did you see Jeremy
These
and
are the
his
questions
henchmen
we're
on
going to
your way
answer in
here?
today's video brought to you by PrizePicks.
I'm
Starting
not
with
sure
the
they
fact
know
that
what
every
they're
series
after
featuring
or
San
what their
Antonio
next
is going to be about how in the world you
I'll
approach
brief
Wemby's
everyone.
rim protection.
Gather round.
Through 2 rounds, the Spurs have been one of the best playoff defenses ever during its minutes. They've held opponents to less than 100 points every 100 possessions, which is about 16 points better than average. For the most part, they've got a really simple scheme. Everything is built around keeping him at the basket. If there's a
Damn,
non-shooting
what is that,
big on the court,
Chiefs?
that's his matchup. Against pick and roll, he'll drop way back, while the on-ball defender fights over the screen, funneling them into the paint, where he's waiting. If the offense goes 5 out and he has to match up with a shooter, they want to keep him on the baseline at all times. So they'll pre-switch everything. He'll guard whoever's in the corner. From there, he can roam and protect the paint. Essentially,
I wonder if NBA teams look at videos like this and just get like extra
I've
help to
activated
help shut down
those
players.
scans.
so what the offense does, he's going to
Something
rotate to the rim.
happened here.
And when he's
The
there,
drone
it's
should
pretty
pick it
much
up.
off limits. In the playoffs,
Ideally,
players are shooting
we'll
about
find some
19%
info
below
on
their
Jeremy.
expected percentage when Wemby
But
can
we
test
can
them within
hope to
6
at
feet of the
least
basket.
get
He's
some
turning
idea of
65% shots
Essimo's
into
whereabouts.
45% ones. The Wolves try
Bro,
to
you
to
can't
retrieve
sit
some
up
of
here
the
and tell me
drones
Wemby's
and
not a
return them.
generational talent. Do you hear that stat line? No legs, bro. When Wemby's on the floor playing defense, players' field goal percentage goes down 19 fucking percent. Do you know how significant that is in the NBA?
In the playoffs, players are shooting about 19% below their expected
And
percentage
especially in the
when Wemby is
playoffs.
within 6 feet of the basket. He's turning 65% shots into 45% ones. The Wolves tried so many different tactics in hopes of getting him out of it, from putting their best shooters in certain spots to going to extreme lineups, all sorts of different actions. Nothing worked because of his ability to cover ground. He could always get to the paint in time. As for the rest of the team, they're rotating around Wemby. They're really fast, with lengthy, athletic wings who can cover ground. They'll bring constant pressure and switch every action to keep someone in front of the ball. If they do get beat, Wemby's there. Then they'll peel off to the perimeter, rotate on a string, run shooters off the line, funnel them back into Wemby. All roads lead to him. But because you can't score at the rim, that means offenses live in the mid-range. We've seen this all season long. Against OKC, though, it isn't that
So
simple.
he's basically saying that OKC don't have to come out with that 3-point shooting.
They're loaded with mid-range talent, which...
Or mid-range.
He's one of the best mid-range scorers in NBA history. He's so efficient in that space that it sort of breaks the rules. The idea behind the Spurs' approach is that you can make offenses settle for what are statistically bad shots. The problem is that for Shea, they're amazing shots. On average, teams shot about 43.5% from mid-range this season. Shea, on the other hand, shot 54%, more than 10% better. I want you to think about that in terms of points per attempt. For reference, the average half-court offense scored 0.98 points per possession. A 40.
Ride with a 5 gifted, actually 6. Shout out to DPWS.
Teams are, by default, starting at about an 11-point disadvantage. Shea's mid-range shots, 1.08 points per attempt. 10 points better than the average half-court offense. You can't let him get
I've activated
close.
an
If the goal of the Spurs defense is to funnel Shea into
Something
Wemby and
happened
make him
here.
score from the
The
mid-range,
drones
the
should
Thunder
pick it
are
up.
going to score a lot of points. And that's
Ideally,
because he can
we'll
access
find
that
some
space in
info
every
on
way
Jeremy.
imaginable. He'll get
But
to
we
his
can
spots in
hope to at
isolation,
least
on
get
the
some
post,
I'm Jace
idea of
Carson.
Essimo's whereabouts.
playing with pace and finding an opening.
I need you to
Personally,
retrieve
I think the
some of
Spurs
the
are going to guard
drones
Shea
to
exactly
return
how they
them.
guarded Anthony Edwards after game 1. Anytime Ant got the ball in the perimeter, they'd come with an immediate hard double to get it out of his hands. Now he has no space to drive or get to a pull-up jumper, while somebody else has to create against their rotations. This is also how the Lakers defended Shea, and it's pretty clear that the Thunder are way better at
Bro, I literally said that.
This is also how the
Yesterday,
Lakers defended Shea.
before the game when we were reacting. Like, they got to double team SGA just like this every time. Force SGA to pass the ball. Bring hand checking back. Oh, man, Thunder are done.
Pretty clear that the Thunder
Ruby, 19202 would get.
That starts with the difference between Shea and Ant. Shea's a quicker processor and knows how to attack the double with his handle. So although the goal is to make him get rid of the ball, at times he'll still get to his spots and force the issue himself. More importantly though, he's just a better decision maker who takes much better care of the ball. As of right now, he's probably the most turnover averse creator in the league. Show him as much pressure and length as you want. He'll find the open man and get the defense moving without losing possessions. After he makes the right decisions, that's where OKC really differentiates themselves from the Wolves the most. Spacing and ball movement. As soon as Shea draws a double, somebody's going to flash to the ball to make themselves a target. Then they're good enough scorers and passers to hit the right pressure points, beat rotations, and find open shots. Against the Lakers, that meant attacking the paint. But remember, against the Spurs, that's off limits. They'll have to find ways to create quality shots
Analysis
outside of
complete.
it. That means they'll have to
Based
implement
on the
all of the
data
right
collected,
actions
we've
and space
identified
themselves
the
that push stress on perimeter defenders.
substance
Rod
that
24?
Essimo gives off.
Letting them funnel the ball
We've
into
also
Wemby.
found traces of Jeremy's arcade.
isn't. As you know,
Thanks
my
to my
mission,
partners at
where you
DraftKings
rest for the
Sportsbook for
soldiers.
sponsoring this
You know
video.
I have a
New DraftKings customers bet $5, get $100 in bonus bets instantly. That's right, new DraftKings customers can bet $5 and get $100 in bonus bets instantly. The crown is yours. Sign up using promo code FLAG.
There's movement in the pattern of the enemy forces.
For example, one setup we saw them go to against LA was emptying one side of the court and having one of their shooters set a go screen, slipping into that open space. They know a double's coming, so there's nobody to stop that shooter from getting a wide open three.
Yeah, someone in the chat said it. That's
Survey
fair.
of the
That's why.
facility is
See, that's the
almost
thing they're
complete.
gonna have to sacrifice.
Hold on, just a
They're gonna have
little
to
longer.
sacrifice one of these like consistent casuals dropping 25 and 30 and then think they're the main character and shit. So, bro, personally, I'd rather Caruso try to go for 30 games because it's not gonna happen.
They just
Then SGA dropped 30.
best creator one pass away from the ball. Usually that's J-Dub, but he was out in round 2, beating AJ Mitchell to the rim. Because they're threats to get downhill and get to the rim or
And
access to the
speaking of AJ Mitchell, he was nowhere to be found last night. I thought y'all Thunder fans told me to put respect on AJ Mitchell. What did he do last? I forgot he was in the league.
You have to rotate them then they'll put their best shooters.
That's why you don't fall for the hype, man.
That's how you get the defense into the scramble. Which takes me back to what I said about OKC being loaded with mid-range talent. In theory, Mitchell catching the ball with space to attack isn't an issue as long as Wemby's waiting for him at the basket. He doesn't need to get to the rim to generate good offense though. Against the Lakers, he made 58%. Yes, 58% of his mid-range shots. As for J-Dub, he's back there. He's one of the better
And then
mid-range.
J-Dub is back,
He
yep.
can hit a ton of different shots at a good clip.
Is Fox coming back next game?
If Wemby has to help on a drive, iHeart should be able to get to his automatic push shot.
iHeart? Bro, I'm not calling no other
Highly
man
likely
iHeart,
that
but
a
that's
bogus
crazy.
commander will appear.
He's really
If you
improved
see
this part of
one,
his game.
eliminate
Going to one or
them
two dribble
immediately.
pull-ups, turnaround jumpers, and he's too tall to contest.
Enemy target
Also,
identified.
they're two
That's
best
actually-
It doesn't seem to be a commander
They aren't limited to the three-point
Take
line.
them out
Chase
anyway.
them off, they'll make you pay with two-point jumpers.
Enemy
All
target
that's to say, I
identified.
just don't think the Spurs' goal
It
is going to be
doesn't seem
similar
to
to
be
what
a
it is against
commander
most
level
teams.
unit.
Of course, they'll want to keep
Take them
Wemby in
out
the paint at all
anyway.
times. They'll try to get the ball out of Shea's hands and trust their rotations. Instead of running every
facility
shooter off
survey
the line and
complete.
funneling them inside the
No
arc,
signs of
I think they'll
SMO
target
or any
specific guys that
conflict.
they want to take.
I'll need to search
That's
a
what we saw in
different
their
zone.
regular season matchups. They targeted Lou Dort, Kaysen Wallace, and Alex Caruso. The second time they faced, Dort attempted 8 threes. The third time, he attempted 7. Also in that third game, Caruso got up 12 threes in 19 minutes. He only made 2 of them. Over the entire season, Caruso's been just a 31% catch and shoot guy. That's not going to cut it. Wallace and Dort have been in that 35 to 36% range. They'll have to maintain that efficiency on increased volume. Also, I wouldn't be surprised
I'll
to
look
see
at that after.
Mitchell make him play from the three-point line instead of letting him attack downhill. If they can hit their threes, they should be fine. If not, their offensive execution will have to be perfect, like it was in their last healthy matchup against the Spurs. They did a really good job of engaging Wemby in certain actions, and making him close to the three-point line by putting their best shooters in certain spots on the court. That opened things up for Shea, J-Dub, and Mitchell to get to their spots inside the arc, generate high-quality twos, and draw fouls. All that's to say, while I think Wemby can dictate a lot of what OKC wants to do, it feels a lot different than the Wolves series. It's not as simple as just rotating around him, switching every action, and running shooters off the line. They'll find the pressure points, move the ball, and hit shots. Instead, the other guys next to Wemby are going to be tested to make more real-time decisions, closing out to certain spots in the court and letting other guys take shots. For the most part, they did a good job of that with Jalen Clark and Terrence Shannon Jr. in round 2. Can they do it with Caruso, Dort, and Wallace in the Western Conference Finals? Can they do it while keeping OKC's double big units off the glass? If so, the Thunder will be forced to make some tough decisions with their rotations. Shea, Dub, Mitchell, and Chet feel like the 4 obvious, most important players in this series for them. Outside of that, they can go in a ton of different directions. I think this will be a big Isaiah Joe series, because of how much he's needed to space the floor and open things up. At times, I wouldn't be surprised to also see them turn to Jared McCain a little bit more than they want to, which trickles downstream into their effectiveness on the other side of the ball. But before we get into that, I want to take a second to thank PrizePicks for sponsoring today's video. If, like I said, happens to the Lakers, MB blocks, and it may play and their roster is absolutely loaded with guys who can apply downhill pressure. That starts in transition. They've been living in early offense throughout the playoffs, with the energy, speed, and skill to just break games wide open with fast-paced buckets. The Thunder are one of the best transition defenses we've ever seen. They don't turn the ball over, so there aren't any easy runouts. They're always quick to get back, often with multiple rim protectors. So there aren't many opportunities to catch them out of position. I think the Spurs are gonna lose their transition advantage. They'll have to find ways to access the paint in the half court. Luckily for them, they've got big, athletic guards in Dylan Harper and Stephon Castle who pose so many physical challenges. Castle in particular has really had his way with OKC in their past matchups. Between his size, change of speed, and explosiveness, he's virtually unfazed by their pressure and physicality.
secured the
At
airspace
times,
above the
we've seen them
operations
mix it up and
zone.
putting a big on.
I'll leave
But he
you to
remained
handle the
every bit as
interior.
aggressive, looking to win with speed,
Enzo has
using his lower
minimized
body strength to
external
separate
interference.
contact.
We should be
Harper,
able to
on the other
better
hand,
focus
isn't
on
quite
our
as explosive.
objectives.
He's still got great change of pace, though.
Descendant.
Along with his size,
We need to
handling, and
determine
overall
what the
coordination,
Vulgus
it's
are
really
doing
tough to keep him
inside
away
the
from the
cave.
basket. And that's why I
You
think
need
he's
to know
tougher
why
at
the
times to
items
play
that
guys like Joe
Jeremy
and
is
Keenan.
pursuing are
The Spurs would
inside,
start to look for
as
them in
well as
every
what they
action,
are.
hunt for switches, or make them put 2 on the ball to
As
create
Jeremy
advantage.
is not linked
That's
to me.
how they'd be able to put
There is no
relentless
way
pressure
for
on
me
the
to
rim.
know what
I'm
he
actually
is
really
planning.
curious to see what the Thunder do
We
with their
must
matchup.
stop him
I'd
before
imagine
it
they
is
start
too
Chet on
late.
Wemby in hopes of matching his size. But then he's not in position to protect the rim. Not just because Victor's a floor spacer, that's part of it of course. The bigger issue is that you can't take your eyes off of him for even a second without him diving to the rim. If he catches the ball within 8 feet of the basket, he's scoring. So they'll constantly involve him in the offense in different ways, whether that means screening, running around screens, spotting up and cutting, or floating along the baseline. At times, you
There's
have
an
to let them
awareness
play
that the
4-4,
Vulgus here are
which means
stronger.
everything is about
Please be
containing drives
careful.
without needing extra help. If Chet's on Wemby though, who does iHeart go? Castle? In the past, we've seen plenty of teams put centers on Castle. In round 1, the Blazers had
Center on a point
Game
guard.
6 of round 2, the Wolves' big adjustment was moving Gobert onto him. For the most part, the Spurs have figured out how to attack this. They'll make these centers either fight through screens or switch by running things through Castle at the point. Or they'll reverse the actions, having Castle screen to create space for somebody else to attack the paint. The entire idea behind putting a center on Castle is that he's supposed to be their worst shooter. He's somebody who defenses are comfortable leaving open. The foot speed isn't much of a problem if you can sag way off and make him settle. The problem is that Castle hasn't been a bad shooter for a long time now, and I'm not sure if OKC is willing to take that gamble. Since February 1st, he's taken 146 threes. He's made 42% of them. He's been lights out in the playoffs, especially. And if he's hitting his threes, you have to step up, at least a little bit, which then makes it easier for him to win with speed. And at that point, it doesn't make any sense to put a big on him. I'm curious to see how the Thunder approach that, or if Castle stops shooting at such a high clip. The only other option in Ronnie Hartenstein would be to throw him on a shooter like Julian Champagne. Again, though, he's not going to be in position to help in the
just
rim.
said his name
And they'll make
wrong.
him defend different screening actions, forcing the same sort of issues. It's important to
Sham
remember, though,
Pennies.
that's only in starting and closing lineups. If anyone of Keldon Johnson, Carter Bryant, or Harrison Barnes is out there, they shouldn't have a problem throwing iHeart on them. It's just specifically when they go to those lineups with 2 guards and 2 shooters, or 3 guards, that things become weird. And that's how the Spurs always start and close games. I'm expecting the Thunder to go away from double big units in these situations.
Okay, bet on action
iHeart can
clips.
be more of a chess piece to use at certain points throughout the game. For example, he'll probably match all of Luke Cornett's minutes, neutralizing him on the glass and helping win those bench minutes. When the Spurs go to their best lineups, OKC probably goes smaller, throwing J-Dub at the 4 and getting a guy like Joe, Mitchell, or Caruso on the court. That would allow them to match up a lot more
That's
seamlessly.
strange.
You can put a legit perimeter defender
enemy
on Castle
stationed at the
and
entrance
shooters,
appear to be
while keeping
intact.
size on Wemby. Or you can
Jeremy
get
must have
creative,
been
like
able
they
to
have in the
evade
past,
them.
and put a smaller defender on Wemby. Then switch everything, attack his center of gravity, and try to keep him from posting up or getting open in the paint. Either way, these smaller lineups are elite in rotation, and that's what's most important. They'll be able to switch for the most part. Anytime one of those Spurs guards gets downhill, they'll be able to bring help, close out on shooters, and force them to make tough decisions. That's not to say these
This
smaller
must be the
lineups don't raise
high-density
new issues.
Kuiper that Jeremy
Firstly,
mentioned.
there's a lack of secondary rim
By human
protection. If
standards,
Chet or whoever is glued to
this is
Wemby can help,
contaminated
those
waste.
downhill guards pose a big
It is
issue.
also identical to the
Resistance on the ball
substance
is
mentioned
everything
in
for the Thunder in this
Al-Zarruq's
series.
autopsy
If they
report.
can't contain drives, they'll be forced to overhelp from the corners, which is how the
you're
Spurs
saying
start
is
to unleash their shooters.
Jeremy
While
took
OKC has the ability to field
There
out
are
the
no
best
access
attack
records
lineup
on
we've
this
ever
template
seen,
for
their
any
best
asset
defenders
from
are their
us.
weakest offensive players.
That is all
It'll
I
be
can
tough to
discern
find a
from
balance. An even bigger issue than the
We
lack of
must
rim
explore
protection, though,
deeper.
is the lack of
I
rebounding.
will focus
Throughout the
on
playoffs,
detecting
we've seen a
pulses
deliberate
from the
effort for the
Ironheart.
Spurs to have their wings crash the offensive glass. They're feasting on second
These
chance
have all been
opportunities. The
established
Thunder
a
have to box
large-scale
out,
Kuiper
and they have to
refinery
close
here.
possessions. Because
Concealed
if
from the
not,
vigilant
that's how the
eyes
Spurs
of
can start to
Albion.
access the highest percentage shots.
Just the idea
You might have
that
noticed that throughout
Al-Zarruq
this entire
exists
video, I
is
haven't mentioned
proof
De'Aaron
enough
Fox
for
a
me that we
single
can't
time.
allow
Bro,
this to
honestly,
continue.
man, just hearing the
We will
video
finalize
alone,
the
the Spurs
definition of the
is way
facility.
ahead than
You
OKC.
eliminate the enemy
Like,
forces.
I think the Spurs right now have a dynasty that they're going to be in the finals not just this year, but also the next 2 years, if it isn't the Warriors.
I wanted to give him a separate section outside of more schematic
Literally
talk.
too many options, too many weapons. And then, like, if another team has weapons too, they have so many defensive strategies they can do,
Those are
bro.
the primary ball handlers. Against OKC, though,
I think, yeah, bro, OKC gonna get humbled this series, man.
Fox over Castle because of ball security. Castle's a pretty turnover-prone creator. The Thunder
Don't
are
be
maybe
surprised.
the best team ever at forcing turnovers. That's a recipe for disaster. If you're letting them turn you over and create easy offense in transition, you're not winning the series. Fox is pretty turnover averse. He can handle a big offensive burden, get to his spots inside the arc, and create without losing possessions. Like Castle and Harper, he's primarily looking to get downhill, but he doesn't have the same physical advantages. Obviously, he's fast. He's a lot smaller though, both height and frame-wise. Whereas the other two should be mostly unfazed by OKC's pressure and physicality, he'll be tested to fight through it and still create consistently good offense. His play could go in one of two directions in my opinion. If he's able to play at his own pace, get to his spots and make the right decisions, he'll turn into an X-factor. If the Thunder speed him up and he starts to settle for long off-the-dribble jumpers, all of a sudden they're no longer stressed behind the play. No help, no rotation, no trouble on the glass. Him getting his game off could be the difference between winning or losing this series. Not just next to Wemby, running pick and roll, or winning his isolation matchups and forcing them to make decisions. But without Wemby, All season long, the story has been that the Spurs dominate whenever he's out there and often get played to a stalemate with him on the bench. Essentially, they wouldn't lose if they could play him 48 minutes every game. That's not possible though. His body and his conditioning as a 7'5" anomaly aren't capable of logging those numbers. It's still rare to even see him play 40 when he's not on the court. And OKC goes to their super bench, the Aaron Fox will have to be the separator. All things considered, the Spurs have to win this series on defense. That starts with getting the ball out of Shea's hands while keeping Wemby at the rim. If they can execute their defensive rotations to perfection, they should be able to funnel threes to OKC's weaker shooters. Also, I think it'll be important for them to win the rebounding battle. On offense, everything's going to be about finding ways to put pressure on the rim and free up their shooters while taking care of the ball. That starts with De'Aaron Fox performing like a star. And if so, they should be able to survive the non-Wemby minutes. As for the Thunder, it's pretty much the inverse. They need to find ways to get Wemby away from the basket, or at least engage him. Their spacing has to be intentional, which will help them move the ball against rotations. Shot making is the difference there. Can you hit your shots from mid-range and from three? Defensively, they'll have to get back in transition, contain drives in the half court, protect the rim without overhelping, and most importantly, rebound. I personally think the series comes down to two key moments. Not specific moments, but stretches of play. There are 10 to 12 minutes a game that each team plays without their best play, which
the high-density Kuiper
credit to the
produced
Spurs
in this
depth.
cave
Right now, though, I
was used
have
to enhance the
overwhelming
Vulgus
confidence in
who
OKC.
occupied this
Without
zone.
Wemby, they can either lean into their
Vulgus
double
made
big
a lot
units
of
or go
effort
to
to
high
enhance
volume
their
shooters.
forces.
These lineups, featuring J-Dub and Mitchell, are
Eskimo
elite
was
on both
right to follow
offense
his
and
nose.
defense. I trust them a lot more than the
The question
Fox
is,
players.
why
The other
does
key
Jeremy
stretches
want
I'm
this?
referring to are the
The
closing minutes
substance
of the
cannot
close
be
game.
used by
I'm
humans.
expecting lots of nail biters. Games
There are
decided
no
by
signs
less than
of
5
Jeremy
points.
here either.
In these situations,
It may
Shea
be
is
because
the
the
inevitable creator
contamination.
in basketball. He's going
No.
to get to his spots.
The
He's
density
going
of
to
the
make the right
Kuiper was too
decisions.
low for
He's
that.
going to knock down tough shots.
Jeremy
Which
was
brings me back
after
to Fox.
high-density
Can he lead a good
Kuiper
enough
and
offense in the clutch to keep
didn't
up?
touch
It's
any of
definitely
this.
possible, but if I had to bet, I
Check
think
the
the Thunder
total amount
win
of
more
Kuiper
close
within
games.
the facility.
They also have the ability to create more separation in the scoreboard and blowouts. Not only can they break games wide open by forcing turnovers, they're due for one or two hot shooting nights off of the open threes they'll be getting. To me, this matchup screams 7-game series. And in a game 7, anything can happen, especially between two teams of this caliber. All season long, these have been the two. All roads led to this matchup. Many would consider this a preliminary NBA Finals. Personally, I'm going with the Thunder in a tough 7 games. Closing out the Western Conference on their home floor and making it to a second straight NBA Finals.
Nah, man. He was spitting the video until the end. I got, once again, man, the Spurs winning. Y'all make y'all predicts, man. There y'all
There's a
have it.
larger
Everything
Kuiper
you need to
deposit
know
on the other
before the
side of the
Spurs
facility.
and the Thunder,
But
man.
you
Obviously,
should
game
focus
one's
on
already happened.
eliminating the enemy first.
What it do, flight crew? FTC. Flight team, stand up! Spring is sprung. The month of April has now begun. We got the official top 100 plays of the 2026 NBA season. One in the chat if you guys thought this NBA season was fire, 2 mid, or 3 absolutely trash. I told you guys I'm between 2 and 3, maybe sometimes 1, but overall 2 and 3 mid. Too many injuries and shit like that. Now this is a little different top 100 plays. Usually we always wait for the NBA's, but I felt like the last 3 years, to be honest with you, the NBA's top 100 plays have kind of been like mixing in. So here's what we don't do. We actually got fan-made type top 100 plays, but I'm gonna assume that it's gonna be accurate. When the NBA actually drops theirs, which is usually after the finals is over and shit, we'll obviously go back to that. But let's try and see what the fan-made one is talking about. Let's get it.
What? Okay, everybody get out. I'm going to blow it to hell right
All right, at 100.
Eskimo, don't blow it up yet. Jeremy might still be inside.
Enzo's hurt.
We seen that. We seen that. Rod 24.
So far.
Thank you so much for the
There may be
gifted.
signs
And
of
shout out
him
to Peanut for the
on the
gifted.
other side of the vicinity.
Knight is right.
No Curry, no
Jeremy
Kyrie
will
season
probably
was ass,
be after
man.
the
I
Kuiper
agree.
with the highest density.
A lot of faces of the NBA was out.
Pleased that you came this way.
And
I'm curious
I think we
about the
reacted to this.
effectiveness of the enhancements to my forces.
if obviously we probably reacted to 90% of these top 100 players. I'll call it out, but
Stalker's commander seems to be similar to those to arrive. Defender, we must secure
Good
this
shot.
area before Jeremy can.
wet bananas. Yeah, I gotta see Wemby at least 5 times a year. Someone in the chat, y'all remember that they said this is the best season since 2020. I will say there was a lot, like the record, you had to add the male record. I'm not gonna sit up here and say the season wasn't important, but I feel like it could have been better because of the injury. The only reason the season to me was mid is because of the injuries. But there was a lot of highlights, a lot of milestones, records that was broken.
Dark place like this is perfect for refining. But it's even better for decorating
igniting the walls with your insides as I rip you to pieces. What do you think of my proposal? Just
dirty.
You'll be an excellent source of nutrients for the Tree of Truth.
LeBron! We'll skip past some of these replays too. Keep it going and flowing. Damn. All that rebounding. Oh no. Oh no. That was an ankle breaker? Replay that. It was a sneeze, dude. Does he have a brother in the NFL?
Edwards one-on-one against Jones.
Ant-Man! Doing Lopez dirty.
I mean, this is just a heck of a take. And gets by the first defender. Right at Lopez. Elevates.
Probably gonna see Jokic a lot in here too. Pass. Bro, I thought this nigga Hardaway Jr. was about to slam at him, bro. I'm about, how the fuck is this 93?
Sees the double team coming.
I know LeBron's life career flashed behind his eyes, bro. Imagine this shit. Damn.
Tim Hardaway Jr. with a dip.
Damn. Oh, Zion. What you got, Zion? Hey! Crazy thing is, niggas would actually sit up here and say Zion's a bust. He's just on the wrong team. You need to go to a team like the Heat. Let's be honest.
Do what Zion does.
Peanut, ride with the gifted. What's up, Joyce? Woo! Yeah, Cooper Flag. After the All-Star game, I was so happy he stepped it up, bro. I think he's probably one of the top #1 picks in the last like 5 to 10 years for sure. No, I take that back. Wet bananas and then
It
Cooper Flag.
appears that there is another more important zone to the Vulgus than this
I don't know
one.
why I keep thinking Wemby went top 3 when he went
Jeremy did
#1.
not progress that far.
Wemby first and then
He must
Flag.
destroy this place before he can obtain the Kuiper.
Last 525? Yeah.
If we destroy
Yeah.
this location,
Wemby and
there
Flag,
will
top
be no
1 pick
suitable
over the
zone
last
for
5
Jeremy to
years.
obtain high
My man
density
Edgecombe
Kuiper
making these
from.
highlights or top 100.
Should he look for Kuiper in an outside source? He will not be able to avoid
Y'all
being
got
detected
Edgecombe
by
Rookie of
us.
the Year or Flag? I ain't gonna lie, Nipples is out of that fucking conversation. He went 0 of 6 the last playing game. He's out of that conversation, though.
Like a mini show, but you're late getting back to one of
Did I tell you earlier, the Vulgus are after the Tree of Truth.
Has 8 in the crosshairs.
There's only one tree in the swamp that deserves
Oh
that
my
kind
gosh.
of tree. I can take you there. After I demolish this facility.
No, I'm laughing at the commentator.
Can you report
Hey,
back
that's
to
sauce.
Alpha in person? This intel is sensitive and we don't want to risk Jeremy listening
That was
in on any
dirty.
comms. I'll send you the rendezvous point shortly. SMO, wait up.
Oh, nah. Zion?
Refused it.
Of the night, one-on-one
No
against
way.
Williamson.
Locked by a 10-day contract?
Absolutely denies it.
Wembanyama catching, ripping through.
Oh!
He's too good. Watch us here. Beautiful.
360 layup. I think I remember that. LeBron!
Look at LeBron. Just move baseline. LeBron.
No, I actually like that. Somebody said blocks are now in the top 100. They need, bro, this is basketball. Defense, offense, shit. Even if it's like a clutch-ass charge you take, it should be in the top 100.
Just if Jeremy has got hold of they would, but
Grizzlies.
he's likely after.
Demolition of the
GG?
storage has been completed. Rendezvous
Damn,
point
no
set.
John.
No matter which way you look at it, definitely is the Tree of Truth.
How about this play over here?
GG Jackson's a franchise player now for the Grizzlies. John's probably gonna be gone next season.
Senzo, identify. Wait, is this
I got
Jeremy?
Ja going to the Heat, man.
Look for Duncan Robinson to come right back off. Oh, he blew up
The fuck happened there? Oh, the Hendricks dude. Good shot.
Jenkins entered tonight.
Smother shot too.
Only made 2 3-pointers on the season.
Bro, Ja, hey, I'm gonna be honest with you right now, and I'm gonna say this so y'all niggas ain't surprised. Ja and Zion go to the Heat. The Heat are automatically my second favorite team just because of niggas from Florida, bro. And there's no problem nobody should have in the chat, right? Right? All right, thanks.
In the other conference, Detroit has only lost 2. Oh, good play by Luka. He's got to take it in. Here he goes.
Up and away!
Oh, Luka. There's the anticipation. Right between
Oh, nutmeg.
Kevin Love and then the lob.
Wow, what a terrific effort by Levine. Here comes a mid Thompson.
Whoa! Damn. Amen. Think Amen gonna do anything in the playoffs? Bro, I always felt like these were the worst type of posters. Smack the shit out of them too. Brown? No? Oh my gosh! Woo! Hey, look at this nigga Pritchard. Wasted. GTA. yo, Pritchard, alright?
When they turn it over, they get out and run. And watch this poster. Murray Boyles.
Hey, I seen this nigga in LA Fitness a few years ago, bro. I crossed him up too. I had the cameras on. Insane.
Comes up to set the screen. Allen gets a switch.
Top 80. Ain't no way Grayson Allen on this shit, man. Somebody's uncle? 0.9?
Okay, I switched to a public.
I have no idea what you're talking about, but I'm ready to blow it all up.
Alright.
If the output of the
I don't know why
machine
that's in the
installed
top
on
one.
that tree
It's a
is
three-point
correct,
shot.
half
Regular
of the
season.
swamp will be blown away. Please calm down.
This is so frustrating. I'm going crazy. We
And
need
the
to take
fucking
full
Mayo,
control
man,
of
always
the area
be
around
the
that
closest
tree.
ones to you. How the fuck are you gonna, bro? You're gonna poster your teammate? I gotta cancel him for this shit, man. 3 games, even though I seen this shit late. It's probably happened in January, nigga. Bro, come on, man. This nigga dumped on his teammate. Hey, I hope Adam Mayo's good though. All jokes aside, got injured in the play-in. Hope that doesn't link.